All right, we're going to create our first page here. So I'm going to use my keyboard commands, Control++, to make the font size larger so it's easier for you to read while I'm working on the video. At this point, you should have your folder structure set up with images in your folder. So for this week's assignments, we're going to be working with headers, paragraphs, images, and with links. So we always start by putting into the basic skeleton of our site. And the basic skeleton of a site looks like this. You always start with the doc type, HTML. That does not need a separate closing pair, but most of the things that we're going to work with will be paired tags. So we'll have HTML, and it'll automatically drop in a closing tag for it. Right after the HTML tag goes in, you put in your head tag, and it'll drop in a closing tag. And you'll notice brackets knows when there should be a closing tag. And we're going to get body. And that should be aligned with head there. And that's our basic structure. Now in the head tag, we can put a lot of things. Today we're just going to put in our title, which is going to be Week 3, Lab 1, and that's the basic framework. Then we can start putting in content. And we're going to put content into the body section. If this is distracting to you, you can hide the part that you're not working in. So in the body section, we're going to start with H1, and we're going to say something about what the page is about. And this is going to be about yourself or your dogs or whatever. You need to do a page about something. So this is going to be Mary's dogs. And then I'm going to have 3 heading 2s because I'm just going to structure this page this way. And these really do act like an outline. You can actually outline your whole web page in this way, so it provides a logical structure to it. So I'm going to put in Eli, Nessie, and Ollie, because those are the names of my dogs. Now at this point, I could save this, and I could test it using the live preview. And this will really display it in the browser so I can see what it looks like. Let's take a look at the code right next to it. So we've got my code here, and we've got the results. In the heading, the title, Week 3, Lab 1, actually appears right here. That's where the title shows up. And then you see my heading 1, heading 2, heading 2, heading 2. And the H level affects the formatting, but we can take more control over that later. So I can insert the images next. I'll insert the image after each name. So it'll be image, and then you have to say where you're getting the image from. So it's source equals, and all of mine are in the images folder, and that has to go in quotes for the whole path. So it's images, and this is Eli, and I can just hit enter and it'll pick that up. That's all you have to do, but it's going to put in a really big image. Now you can make these smaller. There's a better way to do it once we get to style sheets, but you can make them smaller. So we could set the width equal to 300, and that would be pixels, but you don't have to specify. And we can refresh it. Actually, we have to save it first. And refresh. And by just putting in the width, the whole thing will resize so it doesn't skew out of proportion. So don't define the height, just the width. And then we'll do the same thing for the next two. We'll do image source equals images. This is Nessie, and we'll go ahead and set the width equals 300 to make it the same. Now these, I should actually be closing these tags. I'm not sure if I need the semicolon here. We'll see if it works without. That's actually from a CSS thing, so let's see. And if I save it, does it refresh here? No. So I can do live preview again. And so we've got Eli and Nessie in here, and so we don't actually need that semicolon, so we'll drop it. Now the slash here to close the tag is because an image source is not a part of a paired tag, so it's self-closing. There are a couple things like that. Image is the most commonly used one. And then we'll add an ollie. Image source equals images ollie. And test. I should have saved first. And test. Okay. So that puts in my 3 pictures. I also want to put in a paragraph about each one. Eli is 13 years old. Is it just a paragraph tag? Nessie is 4. She is Eli's daughter. And Ollie is 5 months. Nessie's half brother, same mom. And that's all we need for the text for this. And we're going to add a link, and that'll be all we need for the page. So we're going to save this. We're going to test it. There we go. I put Ollie's above his. You'll see order matters here. I surely should have, for consistency, put that under. Okay, so now we want to add a link. So I'm just going to add a link to MCC. That's href. So anchor hypertext reference equals. And we'll just link to MCC, so it'll be http:// because you need to include that, www.mchenry.edu. That tells it where to link to, and you put the text that will display on the screen. McHenry County College. And then you close your tag. Now, there's an error here because I forgot to close my quotes. So this should be pretty much error-free code. I don't see any errors. We're going to save it. And then before I upload it, I'm going to come out to my Web 105 folder, and I'm going to go into this page. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to choose Open With. I'm going to use Firefox. I like Firefox because it's got an easy error checker. There's lots of good options in Chrome as well, but Firefox will check to see if there's any errors in your code, and I usually have a couple. So I'm going to view the page source, and here you go. I've got an error right here. No space between attributes. So I need to have, oh, I don't need the equal sign here. So if you see something in red, that tells you that there's an error, and we'll try and give you some indication of what that error is. So you should go back and fix it before you upload it. We'll go back into brackets. Source equals, we don't need this equals after it. We'll save all. I'll go back to Firefox. I will refresh to reload it. And I will right click and view page source. Okay, so that's error free. Now that's exactly how I look for errors in your code. I go into Firefox, I right click, and I view the source. If there's red errors, fix them. Otherwise I'll take a point off for each error. So that's it. You can hand in your file through FTP. I'll do a separate video on that showing you how to do it. But that's your code for this week.